Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome to the Almost Irish Podcast. I'm Dan Barry.
I fucked that up, but hey, everybody, I'm Dennis Rooney.
Mick Thomas here. How are you, lads? Nice to be back.
All right, let's. I got a complaint. Why are we starting this episode late? What the fuck is going on, guys?
So that's on me.
Serious podcast. You tell me I'm unprofessional, that I don't take it seriously. I'm always ready to go. I'm always where I'm supposed to be. I'm the one checking in, saying, "Hey, everyone, ready to go in 20 minutes?" And I send out my text.
You have nothing going on. You have nothing going on.
That's not true. I raced home to get ready for this. All right, and I was hopping in the shower.
So it's on me.
I should.
So listen, before we start and turn this into the Dan Barry Show, and I mean this rightly so, it deserves to be the Dan Barry Show. I just want to say something I will never ever do again. But I listened back to the last episode, which is also something I don't do. I came across very mean at the end of it, and I'll tell you why. Towards
listen to the other
people.
episodes, Mick. You might have just
people. Listen, everything I say is, if you let me get through this, I appreciate it. Everything I say is calculated. I try to be funny with a little bit of honesty in there. And as you were talking to me, I had my head in my phone trying to find a picture of Fat Mick Thomas. And I think Rooney asked the question, like, you just don't like fat people. And I came across very, very mean, and it wasn't my intention. Like, I'm generally a nice person. My goal isn't to hurt anyone's feelings. So if anybody, I'm not gonna say if you're offended, I'm sorry, but I just fuck it. Like, I generally didn't want to come across like an asshole on that episode, because I wasn't paying attention. To have my head in the phone, and I should have been more calculated about what I was saying. I wasn't paying attention. I was just regurgitating bullshit. So
who yelled at you? That's what I need to know right now.
Not one person. I listened back and I found it very, very funny. I generally like to listen back to some, like, who listens to this podcast? My son listens and laughs his ass off. He's only 11 and he finds it hysterical.
So I put
it on for him. And I just kind of heard it. I was like, I know where my head was. I was in my phone trying to find a picture and I wasn't paying attention. Normally I'm calculated about what I'm saying, but I wasn't on that episode. So,
well, why don't you put your stomach where your mouth is, Mick? Put on 60 pounds and show that you mean it, that you don't hate fat people.
Yeah, go ahead. Try your run.
Run, you go the other way.
No, I'm not doing that.
Try running 100 miles. Try running 100
No.
miles with like another 50 pounds on you. Let's see how that goes.
I run with a fat suit like Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
You have to carry me for every other mile.
All right. So now that I got that out of the way, that'll never happen again.
Yeah, right.
All right, you tubby bitches, let's do this one.
All right, cholesterol high motherfuckers. I think, look, before I don't know, do you want to talk about Dan's tampon on his finger or Dan's great success? We have a lot to talk about involving Dan.
Well, let's talk about the loss first and end on a high note, because I feel like comedy-wise, I should start in the high, end on the low, but this is too fresh, and I'd rather get out of the way.
Go on.
So I cut the tip of my finger off, like real bad.
Like real recently, like an hour ago?
Like within the past hour.
Now, let's clarify, because when you grow up as a kid, everyone exaggerates your injury. You could see the bone, right? And it really wasn't. And then when people go like, I cut the tip. Yep, that's the tip of your finger off. All right, I see that. That is a big, wide vagina on your finger. That is after it was cauterized. That is a slut's vagina, not just a regular one. That is a girl who goes to Cancun too much and fucks way too hard, and that's what's left of her.
You could fit my penis inside of there, and that's saying something.
Oh, wow. So talk us through it, Dan. How did you do this?
Oh, it's not even interesting, guys.
I was hoping you saved somebody.
So I, being the man I am, decided to start making I was going to start making like a turkey burger, but fresh made turkey burger. And then I was going to use, instead of a tomato, I was going to use pepper. I was going to roast peppers. So there I was prepping the au jus. Now I was cutting the pepper in half. And I guess when I was cutting it down, like I had thought where my finger was, I was good. And the knife was just like, nah, fam. And it just went zoop. And it, like, honestly, went immediately through. I have very sharp knives because I cook a lot. So I sharpened my knives and then it was like soup. And I went
Were
No,
those
no,
the
no, no, no,
knives?
no, no. And I turned around, and by turning around, I had seen the blood spray.
Oh God!
Yeah, and
Did
I
you
went
splatter all over the kitchen?
It didn't go all over the kitchen. It went just a little couple, but it was like, oh shit! And I put it under water. I started running water under it, and then I'm looking at it as water's running under it, and I'm like, that's a lot. That's something. This blood's not gonna stop. So I looked at the clock. I even said, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss the podcast. Like that's the first thing I thought of.
I like that.
You didn't immediately go, I need to text Dennis.
So I was like, oh shit, like what am I gonna do? So I'm like, all right. So I have like these clean, like super clean, like rags in my thing. So I'm like, oh, I'll just put the rag on it, and then I will go to like urgent care and see if they can just clean it up. And then so I'm texting you as I got to the emergency room. Go ahead, Dennis. You have a question? It looks like.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is there a tiny bit of your finger next to this pepper? Do you bring it with you?
No, I didn't even. I know enough that it's not like they're gonna stitch that
small.
back on.
Can I get a metric reading? Like how big of it? Like quarter inch?
It's like a half inch of skin.
Like a half. Oh God.
Yeah. And it's probably about a quarter of an inch deep into my finger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
No, I don't cry. Look, this isn't gonna make me cry. A sad movie in an airplane, I'm done. This
Are you making?
like, go ahead.
I'm the same way. It's the movie that's gonna get me. But in that situation, while I'm driving there and I'm like holding my hand as tight as I can and just trying to, I am making noises. They're like, I'm making that
stuck,
a lot.
I got stuck behind a Prius, and that I was like, God damn it, God, move your fucking ass. My finger's bleeding. Like I was just like saying, oh shit. But I'm talking to myself.
Could you have pulled up hypothetically next to the Prius, stuck your hand out the window, sprayed the car with blood?
Dude, like a Spider-Man fucking web sling.
You're pumping your other hand to give it squirts.
Yeah. I'm grip strength. I'm pretending. But so anywho, I get there and there's a line of people going to the urgent care.
Not anymore.
So the urgent care has like a machine where you put your driver's license, you flip both sides, and that's how it checks you in. And the line for that thing, because the person in front didn't know how to use it. So I went to the counter. I'm like, hey, I tipped my finger off. I need to see a doctor, like kind of like right now. And she goes, oh yeah, okay, come on in. And she was super calm. And I was like, oh, I guess this happens all the time. So I sit down. I have my big rag that's now in the medical waste bin.
Did you get the clipboard with the pen on the fucking chain and fill all your stuff in?
No, they literally like, give me your driver's license. We'll check you in. I'm like, okay.
All right.
So are you doing everything like one-handed? Because you're kind of like.
I'm doing this. I have everything out. So I'm kind of doing the one hand. And I'm just kind of like, I'm like, oh, they're not making a big deal of this. So I think it's going to be fine. Like in my head, I'm like, it's going to be great.
Yeah. The receptionist with all the medical training she's had.
But you know what? Like when you say like I tip my finger off to somebody, like when I say it to you guys like, oh shit, like you guys like in your own head. But then like part of you's like, well, how bad is it? Like whatever. But like,
that's why I was more the second one with that. Remember, like we go back to that childhood, exaggerating and the tip. If you said I cut my finger off, I would have believed you. But the tip, again, concern for your safety and the pain. But a part of it is like he's fine. Trust me.
I think also like we know Dan, and when Dan like he didn't say like. If you're going to the doctor for it, I know it's bad enough. Because I actually have a story that I'll relate to after you're done, where I kind of told someone, I was like, you shouldn't go to urgent care because the only thing they're gonna do is something you could do at home. You know what I mean? But what injury you had, you needed this shit. Yeah. I
needed a doctor. Apparently, I didn't know. I thought what I was thinking of was like in my head, like a pressure bandage, like where they wrap it in that like the special bandage, and you have to like keep it elevated or whatever. So I get in and the doctor goes, oh, hello, how are you? I'm like, good. I'm like, I cut my finger off. He goes, all right, let's take a look. I take it off. He goes, uh-oh. And he puts it right back on. And I went, that's not good. They might have like, uh-oh. He goes, it's an avulsion, which apparently just means that I've separated the tip like completely off or whatever it is. Like, I didn't necessarily get what he was, but he starts putting like bandages on. And the way it works is with these kind of cuts, you put a bandage on, and then when the blood starts seeping through, you don't take it off, put another one on. You have to just stack bandages. So I had like a heavy amount of bandages on my finger. So I'm stressing out a little bit. And he goes, he's like, we have two options. either I can, he goes, let me look at the watch. He goes, so we close at 8. He's like, I might need to keep you here till at least when we close. And
That's a real Mother Teresa right there.
Yeah.
I want to help you, but we close at 8 o'clock.
Close at 8.
Me and the wife have plans. Loki just came out. Loki came out on Disney Plus. She's getting some Chinese. I've been listening to this all week. Go ahead.
No. And I could have been no. So
I got reservations, man. It's hard to get reservations at this place. Now that restaurants are back open.
To give him full credit, he was saying like, look, I'll stay late because we can't let you leave until we can get the bleeding to stop. That's the number one. And he goes, and where that's cut and how bad it's cut, I don't think we're getting it stopped. And I went, huh? He goes, what we're gonna have to do is cauterize the wound. So
he takes out an iron.
Don't know what that is.
Cauterize the wound is when you burn the blood vessels so they stop bleeding. You seal them with a burn.
You didn't know what cauterizing a wound was, Mick? I'm very surprised.
It's in one of my bits.
I did. I said for the people listening. There's a lot of dumb people that listen to this.
I'm sorry. I was going to say, I was like, I figured you're cauterizing wounds on your run and shit. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I've stitched my own arm up here.
I super glue wounds closed. That's how I do everything.
I've heard of that one. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. And he takes out the cauterization pen and it looks like a wood burning pen almost, like, you know what I'm talking about, like those things you can like burn like designs in the wood. So it looks kind of like that, except it has like little forks on the front of it and like a little like hot bar is how I'm going to call it. And he goes, I have to burn each individual capillary. So
do you want to explain what a capillary is, Dan, for the people?
For the Mick Thomases of the world that can. So what happened was, so he's burning every individual capillary, and he puts it on like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, okay, how many more left? He goes, that was the first one. I'm like, oh my God, stop. And I like made him put a Band-Aid out because it fucking hurt. Like, I have a pretty high pain tolerance. That's not me being like Macho Dan Barry. Like, I literally have broken a bone. I'm like, oh, that sucks. And like moved on with my day. I legitimately was like, we need to figure this shit out because I can't sit through like 4 times 15. Like, I can't do 60 fucking burns. We have to really figure it. He goes, all right, we're going to put a blocker in the finger. So he basically like blocked the nerves all throughout this finger. So I have no feeling in this.
How did you do that? Like an injection? It's
a numbing agent, but it's whatever.
Because right now it sounds like right now we haven't come that far from when the Roman gladiators would get sliced up and they would burn the wounds whole, the sword in the fire.
Do you know why they did that? Because it worked.
Yeah, but we're not that far away from that.
We're not. Now it's medical grade, so it's clean when we're doing it. But so he starts. So now he numbs the finger. He has it wrapped, and he goes, "Okay, we're gonna do it again." And he started going. Guess what? Didn't work. And I was like, "Fuck." He goes, "Okay, I'll do a little bit more." So a little bit more got to the point where it was tolerable. Like, it felt like somebody was taking like a finger prick of your blood, like if you're like you had diabetes, but like 4 times per. So it sucked, but it wasn't like end of world, you know, my hand's gonna be dead. And then I took that picture that I just showed everyone in the world who probably did not expect to see that picture today. Mm-hmm. And at the end of it, the room just smelled like burned skin. Which,
oh my God,
which is not great. It's not a great feeling. And the two of them were laughing, like talking about barbecue. And I'm like just sitting there, like kind of like I have my middle finger just like this, like I have like you're sticking your middle finger up, and I'm looking at them, and they're like, "Oh, you can put it down." I'm like, "Oh no, I can't." You're talking about my fucking barbecue skin. You're getting the finger. And then he puts this giant dick on it, and now I have a giant penis finger. And he's like, "Yeah, you can't put your arm down until at least 8 o'clock." And
I was wondering why you were doing that. Part of me thought you were kind of just like looking for attention. It's like,
no, I have to do this.
What
I
this?
tried to keep it off camera, but I don't have the space, so it's like
put a cigar in it. You look a little bit more.
I look like Anthony. Oh, wait.
Maybe tonight's gonna be the first night you actually please your fiance in bed. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa, hey!
Is that too much? Sorry, kid.
We both know that I can't do anything in bed anyway. I'm not exactly.
I'm saying you got a huge digit now at your disposal.
Yeah,
but nobody wants a soggy gauze.
It's going straight in the butt.
Your butt.
My butt. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Obviously.
That's your left hand. Are you left-handed?
No, I'm righty.
Okay.
But I'm looking at my keyboard right now because I will be typing at work tomorrow, and I can tell you that I'm going to hit a lot of extra keys. This is not designed for fat fingers.
You just got to tell people you have a cat that walks across the keyboard every once in a while.
Look at the keys, and then look at the finger.
Yeah, that's not.
Yeah.
I think you can get the very edge of it, the very last part, but you got to go like top bottom.
I gotta like elbow it. But yeah, no, this is it for me. It is,
Is this going to change your wrestling character? Are you now like Tricky Dan, the 9-fingered
I'm
gypsy?
doing the mandible claw, which is Mick Foley's old move, where you shove it in and you put your fingers in their mouth and you like hold their tongue. Like
Yeah, that's a good one.
Here's the
Are
thing.
you
There's a
going to
giant
become
dick finger now though?
That's what it's called. He's giving him the dick finger. He's giving him the dick finger.
He's dick in his mouth.
Are you as we know a lot of, and I'm a former wrestling fan. I kind of bowed out a while ago, but I do enjoy watching. Like I enjoyed watching last night. We'll get into that in a moment. But what I do have realized over the years, and this not being me being an asshole, it's an actual fact. A lot of disabled people up here and physically love the wrestling. Like every event you go to, they're always up front yelling. Right? Maybe now.
I'm waiting to see where this goes. So I'm
do you think now you will have a lot more like, he's just like us now? You know what I mean?
Because I have a bandage on my finger. I feel like they're two very different. Like,
yeah, but you're deformed now.
Because this is big.
You're deformed now.
Yeah.
Cut to next week. Mick Thomas says, listen, I listened back and I had some phone calls.
At me phone,
I mean that. I still
about
mean
the
this
fat
one.
people I made fun of the week before.
No, I mean
didn't
this
read
one.
anything about the disabled.
I was under so much duress for Dan's situation that I wasn't thinking straight.
I mean what I say. I just like the way I express what I'm trying to say always comes across. Like sometimes I will say the nicest thing and people will just laugh. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking serious.
You guys watch. I mean, you've seen Rick and Morty, I'm sure the two of you. What if Mick is like, there's another parallel, like the original universe, Mick is like pretty level-headed guy, like super compassionate, and this is like the extreme version of Mick that we get on our dimension,
What did
we're the normal version of ourselves, but we've been stuck with like the most offensive Mick possible.
Yeah, the weird thing was even at my dad's funeral, like they were like, "Do you want to go?" Because they figured I would be the one to say something because I speak publicly, and I was like, "No," and they're like, "Well, why not?" And they thought like I didn't have anything to say about my dad, and I was like, "No, because if I say anything, people will just think I'm trying to be funny." Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like they won't take you serious. Nobody takes me serious in my life, and
me dad was fat.
You what?
Me dad was fat. So you
know,
was
a fat cunt. If the cancer didn't get him, the cholesterol sure as hell would have.
The true cholesterol is hot in his heels if that cancer didn't get him.
I love the idea of Mick Thomas everywhere he goes. Like he's the man in the Twilight Zone episode. Like he goes to the bank, like I'd like to make a deposit. They're just like, this guy, he wants to make a deposit. You believe this guy? Oh, Mick Thomas.
I swear to God, I would say stuff like when I used to work with certain banks and I would have these meetings, I would say something. Everyone would start laughing. I would just go like, what? Like, I'm serious. Like we shouldn't, like, I think that's what we should do. It's like, go ahead.
No, your credit is terrible. You can't get this loan.
Yeah.
And then when Mick would make a joke, everyone would just look at him like,
yeah, then it would bomb.
I know that struggle.
Yeah, that's, Dan, is this the first time you've like cut a piece of yourself off?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, let me tell you, I want to tell you about the, so, I do a little food service in my time once in a while, maybe. And I had a kid, he's like 21, 22. He cut himself bad, like bad enough where it was like 2 hours before he was going to go home anyway. And I'm like, just get out of here, man, go home and wrap it up. And he's like, should I go to urgent care? And I'm like, let me see it again. And he's, quick show. And I was like, nah, dude, don't go to urgent care for that. All they're going to do for that is clean it and wrap it up. Like you'll be there, you might be there for a couple hours. Like it's really not worth it. You could just do that at home.
He's like, no, I meant my AIDS.
Yeah, he's like, no, I've been spilling my guts to you about my terminal illness all week. You haven't been listening, I guess. No, but he couldn't talk him out of it. He's like, I'm going to the doctor. He spent 4 hours. He went to the emergency room. And next time I saw him, he was like, I said, how long? He goes, 4 hours. I go, and what'd they do? He said, they cleaned it and wrapped it up. And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, you learned your lesson, maybe?
I when I first lost my insurance, however long ago, years ago, I looked at it and I went, okay, well.
Just say I didn't pay my insurance then. Lost
I
it
lost
means
it.
you're like, where did my insurance go?
Have you seen this insurance signs hanging up all over the place?
Prior to a Barack Obama, it was very hard for somebody who was an independent person to get health care or health insurance, and Cobra is expensive as fuck. So I couldn't do it. I was a poor person. So I took the first aid class. Like I got certified in first aid. And that's what I used for everything I did moving forward. Like I was like, I learned how to make a cast out of newspaper and duct tape. Like that's good by me. It's all I need. I figured out like that's why I found out about the super gluing wounds closed, and
Right.
You super glue it and you butterfly bandage it and you'll be fine, and that type of shit. So for a very long time, almost every injury I had was like, nah, I got it. I got no problem. Right. I have a scar on my forearm. I went to put what's called a rototill, which is like the tilling machine that you use, onto the back of a truck. It fell off and one of the blades went in my arm. So I pulled it out, I cleaned it, and you have the skin like folded into it. So I had to pull the skin out, clean it again, and then I super glued it. And the people who were on the job site were blown away that this is something that I was just doing. Like, yeah, I'll be fine. Just clean out a little alcohol, I'll be all right, no big deal. And like I put it on and I wrapped my arm and I went back to work. And it's like, so when I was doing this, I was like,
at least go home for the day, do it at home, get paid. You know what I mean? What are you doing working the rest of the day, dude?
And why do you have super glue on the job? What kind of like
first aid kit? I had in a first aid kit.
Super glue was in the one you made, your makeshift. Yeah. Okay, all right.
You make your own. So I had mine always in my car because I was like, well, if I'm gonna pay for this, I might as well just have this, right? So I had everything ready. I cleaned it. I wrapped it. I was good to go. Went back to work. And the reason I went back to work is because you get paid per day. You don't get paid if you don't work. So I had to get my cash.
You don't get paid by the hour at the job you were doing?
No, I was doing sprinkler work. So I was a day laborer.
Bullshit.
I got paid cash.
It's bullshit.
100% true. Tender lawn care.
I want to talk to your old boss and be like, you should have told Dan to go home and paid him for half the day. What time did this happen?
Like 9 in the morning. Half day wouldn't have even counted.
Oh my God.
All right, I'd go home. Yeah, you needed the money. All right, you stuck around. You needed the money.
I need the money. I definitely need the money. So I was like, this is it. Like I gotta do it this way, whatever. And I went from being in like a union shop where like I had gotten hurt. It's like, yeah, I got hurt. Like this will be taken care of. I'll be able to rest home. To me being like MacGyvering, like, well, you take the bandage, you can cross it over as a pressure and you can math. And it's just the way I did everything. And then this one, I'm like, how do I do this? And I went, I have insurance. I'm just going to a doctor. I'm not going to fucking think about this. Like, I'm just going to go. And then
if you didn't have insurance, would you just fucking stick it on the stove?
I would have put a pressure. You put what's called a compression thing on it and you hold it above your head. But he was saying, the doctor was saying, he's like, yeah, it would have been like several hours of that because the way you cut it and where you cut it, you're not stopping bleeding. Like that's a bad one. I'm like, oh, all right.
And just like heating up a cast iron pan over the stovetop.
I'm ironing a shirt. And I'm like, just go right back to ironing the shirt.
That's what I heard. Didn't they do that in Boondock Saints? Didn't they like cauterize wounds with an iron?
Yeah, that's the way that they've done. It's, it is what it is. I do the bit on stage about using the branding iron to cauterize.
That's right.
That's like another thing that people did is you heat it and you just cauterize it. A bullet wound in like at a Civil War, they pull it out. It's like, if you live through the infection, you're good. Pour alcohol on it, then drink the alcohol to numb the pain.
Yeah, well, not to sound like an 80s movie when a man and a female compare scars just before they fuck. I got glassed in Manchester up here, and I went to the hospital, and the wait was way too long. And
hold on. You gotta explain glass for our American listeners.
I mean, glass.
Someone gets stabbed.
Someone gets a pint glass, and like he went to shove it into my face, but whatever I came up, boxing experience, I came up, I rolled the shoulder up. And the pint glass just smashed on my arm and just cuts right into it.
Ugh.
So I went to the hospital and it was like just packed. It was a Saturday night, bunch of fucking, ruffians. And I was like, fuck that, needle and thread. There you go. Did it up myself.
Oh my God. You really did do it. I thought that was a joke earlier.
No, man. It's right. I still have the scar. It's nice. I did a good job too.
I'll tell you this though. You're supposed to use dental floss anyway. So
dental floss. I was in England.
Oh yeah, it's called rope there.
Those cunts teeth. So
Yeah.
let's move on. I want to talk about, Dan, your experience with AEW. Are you allowed to talk about it first of all before I go into it?
There's certain things I'm not allowed to talk about, but there are things I can, and I'll just talk about things I can.
Right. But I was last night. I went out. I went for a walk on the beach last night. That sounds very depressing, but I can't run anymore leading up to my run this weekend. So I just have to do a lot of walks to keep the legs moving. I'm not walking the fucking block. So I go out to the boxing gym, pick something up, and I said, the beach is right down the street. So I'm walking along the beach and I'm waiting for your fucking match to start. No sign of it. No sign of it. I text you because I thought it was maybe in order. No, obviously it was pre-recorded, so I edit it.
Yeah.
So I walked the beach thinking like, won't this be romantic? Me sitting on the beach watching Dan Barry wrestle. Nope. So then I go to Walmart because I needed some shit. And I'm in the parking lot. And then your fight started, your match started. So now I'm in the parking lot at Walmart watching wrestling. I was like, it doesn't get more white trash than
Welcome to America.
Right, that's it right now. But tell us about the experience.
So anyway, so for those of you who don't know, I did a match for All Elite Wrestling, which is on TNT. You guys should watch it sometime. But I'm friends with like half of the roster of All Elite Wrestling. Like we all came up in wrestling together. And I had talked to a couple of buddies of mine about potentially like doing what's called extra work. So you just show up and, maybe you're hanging out backstage, maybe you get a match, like that type of stuff. And they ended up calling me and saying like, can you come this weekend, this past weekend? And I said, yeah, no problem. And they go, okay, well, you're here Friday to Tuesday. And I was like, oh.
Now, before you go further, Dan, I just want to tell at least for the listeners that there, AEW is no joke, right? It's not a Mickey Mouse company. It's probably number 2 right behind the WWE.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that?
Specifically.
Yeah. So it's kind of a fucking big deal. But go ahead anyway. Sorry.
So they have a show called AEW Dark, which is on YouTube, which is a sort of like it builds up to their big shows on Wednesdays on TNT, right? So I was given an opportunity to wrestle a match, and it was
surprisingly a lot of white people on that show, considering what it was called.
It's and this one will be another apology to mine.
Nope.
I think that one's okay. I think you get away with that one. It makes sense. Right. It's an observational joke. I'll allow it.
So, anywho, so I get the call to do the match, and I'm like, sure, absolutely, come down. I'm there. Catching up with friends, whatever.
What's that call like? Is it a text? Is it an email, or is it like
email? So you get an email.
Okay, I thought like it was a real call. Like
no, it's a formal email from a booking company. The guy who books it, and he gave me all the details. I had to get like make sure my COVID stuff was up to date. I have a vaccination, so I'm fine. But you bring your vaccine, you get like a bracelet and whatever else, and then after that you get to the point where they you're kind of just waiting. Like you wait for there's like a big board, like a whiteboard, and it lets you know like what your match is. And I am friends with a lot of people there, and they gave me a match where I wrestled 2 of my friends and a guy I don't really know, but he's a nice guy. And then I had 2 partners, and the 2 guys who I'm friends with we want you to beat us up at points. I said, oh, so I got to wrestle 2 of my friends on the show. I didn't look bad, which I thought I was going to look terrible. What
do you mean by look, as an appearance?
Like I didn't know, like I didn't look like I didn't know what I was doing in there, which is like
it's
the imposter syndrome thing where you're like, this is where people find out that I'm garbage. And I think I came off pretty well. I've been given another match. I will have another match in 2 weeks, I think. So that's pretty good.
You have to go back down to Florida?
Yeah, it's the whole deal, but it's good. I'm happy. I'm wrestling.
Wrong company?
Yeah, I can't. Right. That's as far as I'm allowed to say about that.
Okay.
So
all right. Okay.
Right. So but I'm happy. I'm not. It was one of those things where I've been wrestling for like over 20 years, right? I've done extra work once in 20 years. The only other time I did it, I found out I was doing extra work about 5 minutes before I went out, because I was working in Manhattan and they were running a show in Manhattan. I got a call, hey, can you be here in 20 minutes? I was like, yeah, no problem. So I ran over there. 5 minutes later, they go, okay, go to ringside and you're gonna get beat up. And that was it. I just got beat up by somebody, but I had no idea. I was literally like on my way home from work. I was like leaving the office and I got the call. was like, oh, I'll be there. Sounds good. And, this was way different. This was much more like professional. Like we had trailers we got changed in. It was cool. Like, and I felt like
everybody's got trailers, but yeah.
Was that?
I said it's Florida. Everybody's got trailers, but yeah, it sounds like a good time.
Oh man, no.
Was that a kid or a midget?
So there's a wrestling.
With no context, I'm
this
sorry.
Is what I'm talking about it. I say normal things and people just fucking laugh like I'm an asshole.
Yeah, but it's not. I know you were trying to be funny, but like, as someone who didn't watch the match with Dan.
Thanks for being a good friend, Rooney. So there's a
wrestler. I knew you were there the weekend.
There's a wrestler named Brody Lee who passed away earlier this year, or end of last year, basically, and that's his son. And Brody was the guy who was the leader of that group, the Dark Order. And I tried to do quotes, and
it doesn't look good. At least you tried it though. Some people do this, and I go, "Fuck off! Raise your other hand, you lazy cunt."
So that's his son, and his name is -1 or -1, and he is. So first off, kid is awesome. That kid is like one of the he's just he's like a cool little funny kid, whatever.
Because I thought he tried to kick you at the end of it.
Right. So what had happened was I had seen him kick another wrestler like earlier, or like on another show or something like that, and like. Dude laced in to that guy. And it, like I had finished wrestling match. I saw it get coming. I'm like, oh, I'm not getting fucking kicked. And I like ran out of the ring. And people are laughing at me for running away. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like that kick's coming in. Like it's not it's not like a slap the leg pro wrestling kick. It is a soccer kick, and you better get the fuck out of Dodge. And if you keep watching that match, he actually pushes over the ref for real. It's so funny. Like it's just whatever. It's a fun experience. But
yeah, it was a good match, man. It was really like here's the one thing that kind of almost brought me back. Like, I don't think I will ever go all the way back into wrestling again, but it's like the matches were very quick, and I'm like, all right, I can get none of these 25-minute boring shit where where the guys to take a breather by, we'll both bang our heads, and we'll do a double close, and then we'll sleep on the ground for 4 minutes. And you're like, dude, fucking come on. Like these matches were like maybe 10 minutes max, right?
At best, because the show is designed to take their contracted talent and show the world what they can do, right? So the guys we wrestled are like under contract, and they have, they have like things going on in their show. So they wrestle us, and the idea of it is like, this is going to be quick. We're going to run through and whatever. We had like maybe 6 minutes or something like that. So with entrances, less than 5. So you're watching the match is like, somewhat of a sprint, but I wouldn't change it. It was so, I could tell you right now, I was so fucking nervous, like before I went out. And if you go to a wrestling show in the Indies and you ever see me before my match, I am always like super calm. I'm never nervous. Because I've been wrestling for so long, I get wrestling. Like
it's like a comedy club you've worked in enough times.
Yeah, if I walk into Governors, I'm not nervous about Governors. Like I'm just not that guy. I was pacing, sweating. I wear a Hawaiian shirt when I wrestle. I wouldn't put it on until right before I went out because I thought I was going to sweat through it. I had severe allergies when I got down there. The minute I'm still recovering, you hear me coughing a little bit. That's the allergies like finishing, I guess. The minute I landed, my head was like stuffy. I was like, oh, this isn't good. I was like popping like Vicks, like the breathables every like 3 seconds just to like make sure my wind was good right before I came to the ring. And then as they were doing their like the intros, like I was so like, the set is so much bigger than you think it is. And then I'm somewhat standing there like, wow, like what am I doing here? Like that's all I'm thinking. And I'm like, the camera's on me and they announced my name. I'm like, oh, I didn't taunt. I didn't wave at the camera or anything. I just kind of stared.
Can you imagine if you did? Hi, Mom.
So I normally do a move where I say hi, Mom, and I didn't do it this match.
It's called the Hi, Mom.
Well, I do is I do a senton where I put my so I basically take the ropes, I slingshot myself over the ropes, but while doing so, I put my legs, my knees, and my shins like on the top rope, and I pause for a second. And in that pause, I'll generally go, hi, Mom, and I'll roll through and finish it. So that was my, like, I was like, I'll do that. And then it was like, oh, I don't have time to do that. I didn't get to do that. But I did a split when I started the match.
I saw that.
I did a split to start the match. I did like a side roll over somebody during the course of the match. I rolled somebody up in a submission and a pinfall that no one really does. And I gave somebody else a big suplex. So it's like, all right, good. I looked like a competent pro wrestler. I came to the back and I was super happy and everyone was pretty happy with me. And, I'm happy. It was like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's going to sound very like, in wrestling, we call it a mark, but like a fan, but it was one of those moments where it's like, you know what, check off my box. You know, if I never do this again, at least I got to do this once. And it was pretty cool. You know,
I don't know if you read the chats, because the chats were flying up because it was live. They were streaming it, not live, but it was a live stream.
It was a premiere, so you get to do streaming of it.
Yeah. So I was like, yay, Dan Barry, like, sign this guy based on the shirt. Like I was trying to pump you up. And at one stage, I wrote Damn Barry, DAM. And then someone just wrote, who's Damn Barry? And I was like, oh, fuck me, dude. I wanted to
poured all that gas on the wrong fire.
Yeah, I wanted to go at this guy in the chat, but like, no, you don't know who's watching this. I don't know what person is reading this.
Somebody's watching and they go, damn, Barry. That's all I wanted. That's all I was hoping for.
I was so mad though. I was like, damn, Barry's like, fuck.
So as is typical pro wrestling fashion for me, the board, somebody was writing on the board, and I guess they had been like texted the names like to put on the board. To say like what match it was, and they wrote Dan Barry, and because of autocorrect, and I was like, oh no, because again, I'm like an extra. I am the low of the low. If you've ever been like some people who do like extras on movies, like it's the same role basically. And I'm like, I don't know if I could just go up to somebody like and say like, hey man, that's not my fucking name. So I was trying to be like, I don't know if somebody just misspelled it, but and I go to say it, and then somebody, a wrestler I know, like walked over to me and was just like, that's not your fucking name. And he like went over. He's like, change Dan's name. And I was like, well, at least I didn't have to say it because I sound like a dick.
You just walk up with an eraser and take everybody's name off it.
No, this is not okay. You put respect on my fucking name. No.
The camera cuts to Dan pre-match, and he's just changing all his merch to Dan Barry.
Yeah, like
he's just rolling with it, just buckles under it.
You cut to me on my phone, like Googling how to legally change my name. I gotta do this now. Like, hop on it while.
And the E is now changed to like just cherries and fucking raspberries.
I maybe want to make a shirt that just says Dan Barry with the Barry crossed out. And it says Barry.
That'd be funny,
like handwritten. Just something
like
stupid.
Put Almost Irish Podcast on the back of it because that's where it was born, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true. You
have to legally.
This is so.
And then you have this great high, career high point, and then come over and you're so coordinated. You're a top talent physical athlete. Very coordinated. You talk about how you just hang on the top rope for a split second and say, hi, Mom.
Yeah.
And then you come home and you cut half your fucking hand off while making a turkey burger.
Do you know how on brand this is? That I had an amazing day and it's like, you know what? I should cut the tip of my finger off. I don't want to jinx the rest of it. Because if I didn't do this, I would have died. Like, that'd be it. There'd be no middle ground.
If this is not like the almost, like, it's such an Irish thing that you're not allowed to have one fucking minute in the sun. You're not allowed to enjoy it for a fucking minute. Like, even something when I was building up a tiny bit of pride in the fact that I'm about to run 100 miles, and I go to my son and go, hey, your dad's going to run a 100-mile race soon. He goes, it's not a race. Like, I had this much. It's all I wanted, and I was glad. I was glad it happened. It brought me right back down again to fucking nothing.
Yep,
nothing.
Oh my god! Fucking the most. Thomas getting schooled by his kids. You got Dan Barry in the ring, Dan Barry in the kitchen.
That's right.
I don't know what to do with you.
It's damn Barry.
Dan Barry. What did you do with the finger part?
It's in the garbage. There's not really much you can do. We're not gonna save it.
You didn't put it in a jar of alcohol and leave it sitting in your office?
You didn't chew it like a bugger?
You guys all right? What the fuck's wrong with you?
I might keep it. I had a tooth that got pulled on me when I was a kid. Like, not a kid. I got a tooth pulled when I was like 12, 13, like a baby tooth that didn't fall out. And when they pulled it out, at the end of the visit, they gave it to me at the desk in a little manila envelope. They're like, here's your tooth. And they go, if you're wondering why it hadn't fallen out, just take a look at it. And I take out my tooth, and there's like that much tooth, and then there's like that much calcium fang deposit that was going down into my gums. I had just this long ass. So, and I kept that shit. I wish I still had it. I'd wear it like a necklace. But
did you ever try to put it back in? I used to, as a kid, when I got my tooth pulled out, you would try. I remember I pulled this tooth out. No, this one down here out by myself with a pliers, right?
Oh.
Because it was already broken. It was like from a broken jaw, and I pulled it myself from a pliers. I didn't want to go to the hospital, and I kept it. But like about a week later, I found. I was like, I wonder, does it still fit?
You put it back in. You have to pull it back out again.
Yeah, I just tried to see what, fuck it.
So I was in a car accident when I was 16, and I got crashed head on with another car. So this ear was kind of like reattached, and if you ever look at back in my head, there's like a big scar that comes up the top and whatever.
Which I always do.
Which you always do.
Guys.
You always go, hey, scarhead, you piece of shit. Now it's gonna be, hey, finger scar head, piece of shit. So what happened was glass had gotten lodged into the back of my skull, and there was a piece that was probably about the size of I'd say like a nickel, like it's probably like nickel quarter size, like in that range. And they like showed it to me, like, yeah, this was in your head, and I was like, can I keep it? And the woman nurse literally gave me a look like I was disgusting. She was like, why the fuck would you ask for that type of look? And then she like walked away. I was like, well, this is also, by the way, the same nurse who was talking to me. She put a gown on me. I was concussed. I was fucked. And my dick was just hanging out. I was like, can you like cover me? Like, I like
that she's an ER nurse. She's seen everything. Like people come in here with their bollocks bitten off from fucking a dog, and she's disgusted by you asking for glass. That'll tell you how bad you were.
Yeah, I was pretty fucking mangled, but I was more upset that my dick had been cold and exposed to everyone who walked in. And 16-year-old man.
Yeah, cold dick is not. You don't want people to see a cold dick.
No, you don't want. You want people to see a cold dick on an injured man. If I had an enormous dick, and that you could just see when you pull up that gown, like, yeah, leave that out. I want people to know, like, yeah, he's fucked up now, but like, look at what he's got. In this case,
at least the nurse could have put like an ice pack next to your dick. This way, when people look at it, they're like, well, it's small, but they put ice on it. So
I wish they put like a remote control so they can get like a measurement of size. Like, look, guys, it's not that bad. All right, I'm gonna have to go because I have to do finger stuff. But
yeah. Go ahead then.
Hey, I'm out. ProWrestlingTees.com/Team Tremendous to get some Dan Barry shirts. I have to make a new one.
Dan Barry, I think you should.
Dan Barry one. Almost Irish podcast on the back.
Yeah, that's right. Almost Irish podcast. Go ahead, guys. Oh, wait. I have a couple of shows coming up. I should probably, you guys start talking about your stuff. I'll get to it.
Go on, Rooney.
Well, I will be. Here's one that I could plug in the future. I will be at Wisecrackers in. What's the one Bruce runs? What was that?
Mohegan Sun?
Mohegan Sun. I'm going to be there on September 3rd and 4th with my good buddy Sean Donnelly. Come out to those shows. It'll be a good time. Follow me on Instagram to see some more shows that I'll be doing more recently, sooner than that one.
Very nice. I have a bunch of shows. I'm not going to bother plugging them. They're there. But I am running 100 miles this Saturday. You can go to my Facebook page and donate to either Semper Fi, which are Marines who kind of got a shitty deal when they came back. And also, if you don't like the Marines, then you can donate to St. Jude's. I cannot go on to Facebook because I'm banned from 3 days. But you guys can go on there and you can still donate if you're listening to this before June 6th. No, yeah, June 6th.
Did you get banned because of the fat comments? Did they come back to you?
No, I challenged Cuomo to a fight.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I got kicked off for that.
Can you believe it, folks? So I will be at Excite Wrestling on the 19th. I'll be at Blitzkrieg Pro Wrestling on the 26th. On the 23rd, I'm doing comedy in somewhere in Pennsylvania.
Somewhere.
I'll be at Beyond Wrestling on July 1st in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I will be at Mohegan Sun the week before Rooney on August.
You just missed each other.
So,
nicely done, lads.
Yeah, well, so don't go to Rooney's show. Go to my show. I don't know who.
Go to both.
Go to both. You know what? Go to both. Let's party, gang.
I have to piss, lads.
All right, bye.
All right, love you all. Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.